anyways, we are going to move on right now to the next, or I guess the first series on our list here. And that is, I guess I'm going to be doing that one. And this is, excuse me, uh, something that kind of came up and something that we don't usually cover as much, but we figured this is interesting enough, or this is weird enough, and obviously this early in the season enough to do it anyways. And it is a spin-off of the Love Live Sunshine franchise, or yeah, this is the spin-off of the Love Live Sunshine franchise, or the Love Live Sunshine kind of timeline slash series. Uh, and it's an anime spin-off called Genjitsu no Yohane, Sunshine in the Mirror, also known as Yohane the Parhelion, Sunshine in the Mirror. So again, this is a full anime series spin-off done by Sunrise. Sunrise does pretty much all of the Love Live stuff, spin-off stuff. However, if you look at the staff list, it's actually pretty interesting because they pretty much have nobody that is from really related to the Love Live series directly, or rather the previous anime creation kind of stuff directly. They'll have there's like a director or two here and there that's been involved with like unit director for one of the episodes, or like background art for like one of the other episodes. But beyond, I believe the two people that are most centrally linked, there's, I think, Yukihiro, who is the art director for this, and Nishina Sako as its chief animation director, and both of them, I believe, were involved with the original Love Live uh, anime, and I guess season two of the anime as well. But beyond that, all these sort of script writers, the series composition people, the other directors, the main directors, stuff like that, are all these faces are not related to Love Live. In fact, they're pulled from even outside of Sunrise. They worked on stuff like um what is it they worked on? They worked on stuff like 86. They worked on stuff like let's see this. They worked on a lot of weird stuff. They did Saikano, they did Mondaiji Tachi, the series composition guy did Promised Neverland, Shadow's House. So it's a lot of they're bringing a lot, or Gotchman crowds. They're bringing a lot of people that you wouldn't really necessarily consider in tune with the theme of something like a Love Live or even an idol series in general, right? So it's a very interesting composition, I think, staff wise. Obviously, the voice acting cast is the standard Love Live idol cast, most specifically the Aquars, which is the idol group for the Love Live Sunshine franchise, and that's sort of the second generation idol group of the general Love Live Sun, or sorry, the second generation idol group of the overall Love Live franchise. The first idol generation being Muse, and so this is a spin-off in a sense. Usually when you get a spin-off of an idol series, you have something like, hey, these characters are all chibi art and they're all stuck in this academy and now they're doing something weird or funny, and it's a short series, and that's sort of usually how spin-offs work for idol anime series. But this one goes a completely different direction where they take one of the characters, and this is Yohane, who's I believe also known as Yoshiko, right? Yeah, Tsushima Yoshiko. So she's one of the idol members in the Love Live Sunshine franchise. That where her gimmick is being chunibyo. So she will say all these things. She'll take on the name Yohane instead of her real name Yoshiko, right? And she does the usual chunibyo shtick. Anybody who's seen a random chunibyo character in anime can tell you how that works. The whole my hand like is like burning with the demon flames or whatever, stuff like that, right? It's like the usual stuff, and like the fancy names and stuff. And so they took that concept and ran with it. So she is now this school idol who is, or not school idol, this aspiring idol who went to the city. She failed to become an idol, and now she comes back to her kind of boondocks town, her very boondoggle, just like country. Nobody cares about idols. It's a very plain, small town by I want to say the mountainside and also the seaside. This like scenery is very generic and scenic harbor town. Yeah, so she comes back to the countryside where her family and her childhood friends are, and she, I guess goes around, meets her friends, and this town is also has this weird like magical powers and stuff like that. So kind of takes her Chunibyo concept that she has in the original Love Life Sunshine lore, I want to say, and runs with that to make an entire spin-off sort of magical French series with it. However, again, there's only one episode out, but my guess is that um the way there are two general branches. I don't want to spoil too much, but the general idea is that this town has magical phenomena occurring in it, and not all of the magical phenomena are good. So probably part of the subplot or one sort of undercurrent, one plot line is going to be, hey, this town is having problems with these magical phenomena. How is Johanna and the other Akkur's Love Life Sunshine girls going to help solve it? That's going to be one line. And the other one is, of course, the obvious one where she went to the city to become an idol or get a job or whatever, and she failed. So now she has to come back to the country, and now she has to relish and enjoy the countryside for what it is. And that's a very standard plot line that you can find in almost any other series, right? A country boy who doesn't, who thinks the city is super cool, has come back to his own home and the countryside, but then finds out that there's a lot of value to um, the home that he or she left behind. And that's, again, that's just like a very standard slice of life kind of thing that you can find anywhere else. So those two plot lines are kind of running, and then the rest of it's very standard. Hey, meet the Love Life cast one by one, and then they just do kind of things. It's interesting though because overall, it kind of feels like this series obviously started out as this. How do I say this? The general it feels like the general initial concept and why the reason behind why this anime was made was simply just to be again an idol spin-off, something like Isekai Quartet, right? Or Isekai Quintet. What I don't know what it was. Isekai Quartet, right? The one where they had the ReZero and the Overlord and all the other
Yeah, yeah,
thing
yeah.
in the academy. Yeah, it kind of felt like that. And what I meant by that is it kind of feels like it started out as just, hey, just the Love Live series needs a boost. It just needs another piece of media. Here's some piece of media with the idols running around. Hey, you know the faces. Here's all the idols and they're in some anime. Hey, you like that, right? Don't you? Buy the Blu-ray, buy the merch, blah blah. Kind of feels like that. Or it started out as that at least. But then when you watch the first episode, and the way it kind of really tries to pull you in with the I don't want to say melodrama, but the emphasized emotion and the contrast of the whole, hey, why did you go to the city? The country is good as it is, and you have all these friends here, and it's not too bad after all. And what do you really want to do, Johanna? Do you really want to go to the city, or do you want to stay in the country and kind of decide for yourself what is good for you, blah blah. And when the script is written like that, it obviously feels like the new people on the block, they're not real newbies. They're A lot of them are veterans. But what I'm saying is, a lot of these non Love Live related individuals are trying to take this spinoff and really run with it, and they're just trying to make this a much better series than I think any of the initial producers and creators really had in mind. And it feels like a school project where it feels like a school project where you know that most of the class and maybe even the teacher doesn't really give a crap, but then you have this one really, really try hard team, right? That does all the presentation and does a really good job with all the research and all the writings and stuff like that. And they create this really awesome PowerPoint and video. They take a video, or they make a video of their presentation, and it has all these animations and stuff like that. And you're sitting there thinking, was this? uh, Wow, like they put this much effort in this? Is this real? So it kind of feels like that to me in a sense, where this is obviously just supposed to be, hey, meet the faces, love, life, sunshine. Of course, hey, you like this, don't you? You like Ruby flying around as a fairy. You like Yohane. You like Mari. As like the demon lord or whatever she's supposed to be. Come on, you like all these characters, right? Come on, come on, come on. And but then the director and the writers are saying, "No, we're going to make this into an actual series." And everybody's like, "Really? Really? You're gonna make this into an actual series, huh?" I'm not trying to put you guys down, but you guys realize what the context of this is, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Um. So it is a very interesting combination. I think I wouldn't be against watching more episodes, but I wouldn't hold out hope for this becoming anime of the year, so to say. To put it charitably, right? Again, I don't think it's terrible. But I feel like it's gonna have a hard time shooting beyond very standard. It's gonna be very hard for this to go past like a 5.5 out of 10 for me. Cause it's just like, yeah, all these plot lines I've seen before. Um, and it's very hard to disguise the fact that it is ultimately a Love Life spin-off and it's just kind of meet the faces kind of deal. So a little bit unfortunate. I think if this was maybe in another context, maybe with another franchise, it would have been much, 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 much more interesting. I do think that this setup is interesting as is. I'm just not convinced that.
It
I'm just
sounds
not.
to me
Yeah.
like you hate Love Live.
Yeah, I actually am the biggest Love Live hater.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm just not convinced that the unique story that's created by the original creator of Love Live, that's created by the scriptwriters, that's created by the director, can outmuscle the fact that you're just kind of seeing Love Live characters on the screen. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where how do I say this? Let's say if we had it's kind of like the Chris Pratt situation, right? With some of the movies where you're watching some of the series and this meanwhile you're like, okay, but I also hear Chris Pratt for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
kind of like
oh, that's just Chris Pratt.
yeah, exactly.
But what
Yeah.
about
But
the
it's
Mario
that for the
movie? He
entire
doesn't
series.
sound like Chris Pratt.
He does. He
Yeah,
does.
he
Yes.
does.
No,
Yes,
he's
he
Chris
does.
Pratt with an Italian accent.
It's a
He's
me,
Chris
Mario.
Pratt doing a Mario voice. Like
Yeah.
it. I'm not saying I'm not saying his Mario was bad. I think it was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good actually, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But when you're watching the Mario movie, you're like, that's Chris Pratt doing a Mario voice.
But
You know
what
what I
about
mean?
Charlie Day? He made an excellent Luigi.
He did. He did make a very good Luigi.
Mhm.
But he's also not really putting on a voice at all. So
Yeah, yeah. And he explicitly said that, right? And that's
yeah,
fine in my opinion.
Isn't that Seth Rogen though? Like, I don't want to do a voice. I'm gonna be Seth Rogen, and you're gonna deal with it.
No,
yeah, and
wasn't it Chris Pratt? That was
No,
Chris
it was
Pratt
it
Seth
was
was
Rogen.
yeah,
like Seth
yeah,
Rogen was also
Yeah.
doing like it's kind of implying it, but Chris Pratt like specifically had an interview
No,
where he's
well,
just like,
well,
"Yeah, I'm
Chris
not gonna
Pratt,
do it."
no, it was
Well,
more so that like
I
Chris
think
Pratt
Chris
could
said
do
like
it. It's just that like,
yeah, he said
why would you
something
want
like
that? There's no
he
way they
said
would have.
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
like
exactly, exactly.
you know
I like,
he
yeah,
is doing a voice, but he's not trying to do the Mario voice. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Because
what I'm
Yeah,
talking about. Yeah, yeah,
because I don't know if I talked about it when I watched the Mario movie, but like at the very beginning of that movie, this is fucking bizarre. But at the very beginning of that movie, right?
yeah.
he does the Mario voice, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
it's for like a commercial for like his plumbing company, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as it transitions to like, him not doing that voice, it's like, oh, okay, that would have been really fucking annoying to
Yeah,
watch a
yeah,
whole ass movie of like Chris Pratt trying to do the Mario voice. It would have sucked. It would have not been
It would
right.
have been kind of similar to something like if you had with a live action Detective Pikachu, if you force the male character to like
Yeah, like
to do the Pikachu voice.
it just would have been
Yeah.
annoying. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
I
it
don't know
kind
how
of
we
does
got
feel
here.
like that, where it's just it's hard to for the unique plot or the values in the series to outmuscle a lot of what you're seeing on the screen. You're like, yeah, that's really nice, guys, but I'm still watching Love Live right now.
I mean,
So it's a
do you think this series is going to be able to break free from like just being a Love Live like sort of fan service kind of thing, right? Because at the
the
end of the
issue
day,
is that even
the
the
main
initial
pull
plot
is
lines,
that it's a Love Live character doing these things, right? Like,
the issue is that the plot lines themselves, with the whole, hey, I'm a country bumpkin who went to the city because I thought it was cool and I just like wanted to belong in the city, but now I'm gonna come back to the country and realize how cool the country is as well. That's not a unique plot line, right? That's like we've seen that in every other slice of life. We've seen that in freaking live action dramas every other, season, right?
yeah.
And so I'm not even really that convinced by the plot line. I don't think the plot line is terrible. I think those plot lines are very innocuous, although obviously it can get tedious, so I'm not going to say that they're super good or anything like that. But I think there's a probably 1% or maybe even less chance of the director and the scriptwriter creating a miraculous story beyond the love life sort of frame, and B, the very obvious vanilla plot lines that it has. To It would take a miracle for the director and the scriptwriter to break through both of those hurdles and really become this overwhelmingly awesome series that it could have a possibility of being, but it's just like, yeah, you're not getting past those. I think. I would not bet on it. I would not bet on it at all. So that's my opinion on it, at least. Could it happen? Yeah, again, probably 1% chance or less. Will it happen? We'll see. I'll put
That
it
sounds
carefully. We'll
like
see.
I think that sounds like good odds to most Love Live fans.
Yeah. Hey man, I'm still so shocked by the fact that I think this still might be the case where it's either gonna be those people or it's gonna be Genshin people or something like that. But uh it still cracks me up that was it 2017 or something like that when we saw that news where it's like the labor department or the department of whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
uh Released that report about people who buy the most spend the most money as fans of a specific brand, and it was like every brand. It was something like Nissin, it was just regular stuff, right? 7-Eleven kind of stuff. And they were comparing all these different brands to see, hey, if you're a person who regularly buys this sort of brand, how much of a fan are you? How much of that stuff do you usually buy? Money wise, cost wise, right? And they found out that the most arduous fans of a brand were the Love Life fans.
Of course, of course.
So, uh, Love Life fans will put in the work. So,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, that's my review of Yohane, Yohane the Parhelion, right? Yeah, Yohane the Parhelion, Sunshine in the Mirror, also known as Genjutsu no Yohane, Sunshine in the Mirror, a spinoff, Love Life Sunshine, Sunrise stuff, the works, blah blah.
Fire, you haven't answered the most important question.
What?
How powerful are they?
Yeah. I think the main character probably will have the power to affect the town, so probably pretty powerful.
So
But
she's
I don't know about
town
the rest.
level? What do you mean?
What?
describe it. What do you mean she can affect the town?
I think the magical phenomena that affects the town and scares people is probably connected to her in some way. Is gonna be my guess. But I don't know. Other than that, I have no idea because it's one episode. So, but yeah,
So in terms of side story power level, how powerful is she?
not very powerful probably compared to stuff like Isekai Quartet. Obviously, if you compare it to something like Horimiya side stories or something like that, it would be much stronger. But I think
How so? How
Yohane,
I know? I mean, how powerful is she compared to Megumin?
uh, probably much weaker.
So okay, so but how powerful are they compared to the Idol Master spin-offs?
Probably much stronger because she actually has magical powers.
Can she beat Demon Queen Kanzaki Renko in a fight?
Can she beat Lelouch?
Yeah, because she closed her eyes and just run at
Yeah,
him. And but yeah, I
But
probably
I
would
mean
have.
like so she can't can she beat Renko?
Most likely because
What about
Draco is just straight Chiridia.
what about Cinderella Girls crossover with what is it? Was it Grand Blue? Yeah, Grand Blue.
Traveler. I have no idea. I will not put an opinion out on that. But anyways, that is neither here nor there. That was Yohane the Parhelion, excuse me, Sunshine in the Mirror.